don't get it. That's not what kneeling meant. It has nothing to do with the flag or the military at all. Nothing. Stop combining it because, the president decided to throw everything together that way. That would gin up his base and make everything look good, and they could fire all the SOBs and all that, yada, yada, yada. But I hate saying yada, 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 and I just did it. But anyway, so Drew Brees comes out, takes a lot of heat, apologizes, then apologizes again. Now he's apologizing on Instagram. I've said, look, as a human being, if he's apologizing, good. But I think his apology has a lot to do with the heat that he took. And I would believe the apology more if he said, look, this is the way I've felt for a long time, and I've always tied the two together. But what I want to do is work to understand your point of view better, so maybe there's a midway point, and we can come to that midway point. And this is something that I can look at differently down the line, and give me an opportunity to do that. I accept that. I would accept something like that more, and I hate to put words in people's mouths, than just, I'm sorry, I didn't get it. When people told him over a year ago, over 2 years ago, Drew, that's not the point that was making. But now, because of all the civil unrest and everything that's going on in the world, they came down really hard on him, hard, swift, and fast. And so he changed up. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying I don't believe him, but I think he's apologizing for the heat more so than apologizing for the way he felt. And for that, I'm not really down with the apology. I think when you speak from your heart, that already says something. What do you think?
Thank you for bringing that up, because actually that was the next topic on hand. So thank you for that and setting that up. So here's my thought of it. So he said what he said initially. He came out with an apology, and I'll say this right out. I think no matter what he said, or which way he said it, yes, he got huge backlash, huge. And I think, just whatever it is that apology he would make or he made, it was still going to be picked apart. There's always going to be some criticism to it. I think that I was not aware about the other apology that you mentioned about this morning. So I'm not sure what he said on there. But I think being that it's on the, such a big spotlight with not having sports and just everybody chiming in, athletes, celebrities, whoever, that's where it is. I think he tried to make, the apology, he tried to make it to where, how would I say his feelings. And when he initially came out with this statement, he was seeing it in a different way. He wasn't addressing what, is actually happening now. So I do agree with you. It could have been, a little bit differently with the words that you said of, him, okay, I don't understand. I want to learn more about it. And I think from his previous apology, there was some verbiage in there, some words that he tried to address it as such, but it didn't come out that way. He's done a lot for the community, for New Orleans, and just type of guy he is. He's a good guy. He's a great guy. He's done so much for New Orleans and the community. But yes, the words that were said were probably not the best. And right now at this point, yes, he is apologizing, at least now to this point, to the second apology for the backlash that he's getting and for what was said. And it's not now at this point because he wants to make it right and he wants to, he just wants to make it stop. It's not coming out of what he really feels, what he really thinks, and from his heart.
Yeah, and it may, you know what, and maybe I'm being unfair, maybe I'm being too harsh, And maybe it is from his heart. I just, from life experience, know that if you've said something 2-3 years ago, and people are forgetting, he said that before. This isn't something new. He said that before. So he obviously felt a certain way before all that happened with Cap and kneeling. He felt that way after, and he felt that way all this time, enough so to mention it again in an interview 2 days ago. So now all of a sudden, so what you're telling me is if people didn't get on him, he would be on this mass apology tour. So I just don't think he's changing because of as much of there's this, in a cartoon when someone's doing something, that light bulb pops on over their head. I'm not so sure that light bulb popped on over his head as much as Drew Brees, great guy. Drew Brees has done all these great things. Drew Brees has helped out in the community a lot, to all of a sudden being, Drew, man, you're a jerk. Drew, he doesn't understand. Drew, he just doesn't get it. I think, like any other human that wants to be accepted, it's hard to go from being the loved to being the villain. And he's coming across as a villain. And for that, he's on an apology tour. And for that, I say, look, dude, if you really have a change of heart, good. But if you don't, I'm not going to be like one of these people and say, oh, the light came on, and so now he's real sorry. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. It just changed overnight when it's been the same thing for the last 3 or 4 years. I'm just not buying it.
And I think another thing that it has to do with, not everybody, everybody sees it as a different way, in a different light. You and I see it totally different that, probably he does, or, the person walking down the street, everybody, if you're not really exposed and you're not really educated on it, and yes, you'll see it in the news, you see what's going out there, but if you just don't understand the aspect and the gravity and wanting to, educate and learn more about exactly what is happening and knowing, I hate to say this word, but everybody's calling it like I'll just say being privileged, because you don't go through that side of it. Okay, you don't see it through that lens. So a lot of it, I think, has to do with just, yes, you know about it, you hear about it, but you don't experience it. You don't, you're not learning about it and the effects it takes and so forth. It's just such a big spectrum. But I think, that's where it's coming from. He's not seeing it from that viewing. He just needs to, somebody just pointing him in the direction and be like, okay, this is what it is, and this is what you're not seeing, and having him understand that in that aspect. And I think that's what it has to do with. Because a lot of people out there just don't see it as you and I do, as minorities, and we're seeing it for what is actually occurring, what is happening with all this unrest going on. And I think that where people are having that backlash is like, hey, trying to make them make them understand this is what it is, and you're not going to make somebody, do that overnight. But it can also be at the same time that now he's I'm maybe now seeing where this is coming from. Because if you don't, just like Colin Kaepernick, when he started kneeling, many people didn't know back then, and probably still don't even know now, or barely just learning the reason why he was doing it. And now it's shedding even a larger light on it than it was before.
Very true. And that's because what he was doing got hijacked by the President of the United States, if we're just going to be honest. So, and me just kind of putting the ball on Drew, I'm not saying Drew Brees is a bad guy, and I'm not saying Drew Brees can't evolve. I'm not saying that at all, because we all evolve. We all, as we get older, I will always hope that we get smarter in our thinking, and as we get exposed to things, we change our thinking to make more sense. I'm just saying I'm hard-pressed to believe that happened overnight. That's all I'm saying. Because by no means am I saying Drew Brees. I'm not saying Drew Brees is a racist. I'm not saying Drew Brees has any bad qualities. You've seen from his works that he will work. The community of New Orleans loves Drew Brees because of the stuff that he's done for New Orleans. So I'm not saying that at all, and I don't want anyone to ever say that I'm talking about the man's character. I'm just saying he evolved fast, and I don't necessarily believe that you can evolve that his aha moment was that fast. I think his aha moment came when he realized he had to do something, I'd rather say, when his top receiver, Michael Thomas, sent out a tweet that said he just don't get it. Or he doesn't know any better. And you have Malcolm Jenkins basically doing that Instagram feed that he had. And then you have all these other players, and you get LeBron James saying, dude, you're still missing the point. I think that pressure made him maybe start the evolving process. Like I said, I just don't think it happened overnight. Now, here's what I do find funny. So a couple years ago, I don't know if you remember this, but the Buffalo Bills drafted Josh Allen. And Josh Allen had some tweets in his past that said, some racially charged stuff. So they end up signing Jake Fromm, and the Jake Fromm tweets come out with him saying only elite whites should have guns. If you're the Buffalo Bills press guy, aren't you somewhere in a room pulling your hair out saying, oh, yeah, here we go again. Why can't we draft a quarterback that didn't say stupid beep, beep, beep on Twitter?
No, I do not remember that. My memory is telling me on that one, but yeah.
I'm just looking at this, and I'm looking at look, we may have as teenagers, well, we didn't because there was on Twitter when we were teenagers, but we may have said stuff on Twitter that could have been dumb. But Jake Fromm, you've seen what happened with him. You've seen what happened, backlash that I can't think of the defensive end Bosa got with the Niners, and he really didn't say anything that bad. He just supported a candidate that a lot of people don't like, which, in my opinion, is his right to do what he wants to do. But you to say that in a tweet in 2019, and you play for a high-profile program with Georgia, and you're trying to become an NFL starting quarterback, and you're trying to win a Heisman Trophy, and you're trying to do all this, that's what you put in the tweet? Now, that apology misses me because you knew better. You 100% knew better. Don't tell me a young man, because you're over 20 and you know where you play, you know what you're doing, and you basically, with that tweet, said, I really don't care. And now you're coming back apologizing for it. Are you apologizing because you got caught, or are you apologizing because you said it? That's where I'm sure the Buffalo Bills are like, why do we have to do this locker room control again? Now you got a rookie quarterback who's not even threatening to start, who's going to have to come in and talk to these veteran players and explain what he meant. I would not want to be the PR guy at all for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, true. Yeah, but I think, with the Drew Brees situation, I think it's a little bit different. It has some similar, it's similar in the situation of, putting it out there and whatnot and getting that backlash, but it's different spectrums. Yes.
Different, because Drew Brees' statement didn't come from a racist heart. I believe it came from his biopic thought of what the American flag means to everyone, and and he's combining two things and not separating two things. Whereas Jake Fromm was just making a stupid